At the Pete Souza Show. We are live here in Central Texas. The 21st floor of the Alico building, presented by Slovaceks, of course, Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers, D1, Sikora Family Ford, Extraco Bank, Crawford Austin Properties. And right now, we're going to talk about Shedeur Sanders, but we got solution-based stuff, okay? I'm wearing this jersey today to celebrate the draft. Cruising with twos, right? Let me straighten my brother's picture up a little bit. There you go. John Matuzak was I can tell Scotty gets upset when I get off mic. John Matuzak was the first pick in the 1973 draft, taken by the Raiders. 6'8", okay? He was a maniac, and he embodied who the Raiders were. Unfortunately, he passed away at 38 years of age or 39 years of age, but let me tell you something. We're not thinking about that today. We're celebrating the twos, and we're celebrating the Raiders. The reason I want to talk about the Raiders, because obviously flavor of the day is Shedeur Sanders. It's super interesting. Before we get into the Cowboys draft and we turn it over to Cam Stewart and he joins us, we want to talk a little bit about how the draft was covered and what Cam thought about the Patriots picks. He's our guy here on the Cam Show on the Rogue Media Network, coming up right after me. So the Cleveland Browns, I think they have? 2 of the first 4 picks, right? In the second round. The Raiders have the 5th pick of the second round, okay? Now, I want you to envision this, okay? Tom Brady is very involved, according to our friend Todd McShay, who joined us here last week, very involved in the Raiders draft process, okay? We know that Tom Brady has shown, has favored Shedeur Sanders as far as his abilities as a quarterback. We know about his relationship with Deion. I also think something that can't be overlooked is the fact that Shedeur is a part of Tom Brady's brand, which, of course, you don't mix business on that side of it, marketing, with the football side of it. But when you kind of understand and look at it from like 30,000 feet or even 20,000 feet, get a little closer, clearly, if Tom Brady's going to approach Shedeur Sanders and say, I want you to be a reflection, an example of who my brand embodies, right? That tells you right there that Tom Brady loves Shedeur Sanders. I mean, he's already kind of gone on record saying it, but that really puts the stamp of approval on it. So when the Raiders come up with the 5th pick in the second round, Scotty, correct me if I'm wrong, right? 5th pick in the second round, I think the Raiders have. Scotty's on it right now. Scotty Swingler. Make sure you watch Please Bear With Me, by the way, Sunday night. Scotty Swingler.
5th pick in the second round, you're correct.
5th pick in the second round. Scotty Swingler and Terrence Ganaway, former Baylor superstar, are going to be breaking down the history of Baylor football and also get you ready for what's coming up here in the fall. But I think that it's not a no-brainer, but it makes a lot of sense for Shedeur to be taken by the Raiders. And I think we all know the Geno Smith experiment is short-term there. They need an answer. And I think Pete Carroll, that environment, I think, you play behind Geno Smith, you get a chance to learn. I always have believed that those quarterbacks who get thrown right into the wolves, and we talked about them off the top of the show, whether it's Achilles Smith, Jamarcus Russell, Ryan Leaf, Joey Harrington, Sam Darnold more recently. It's just it's a tough deal, man, when you get thrown right in there. Shedeur has an opportunity almost to carbon copy what happened to Aaron Rodgers. Yes, he's going to fall into the second round. I don't think he'll fall any further than that. But Aaron had a chance to go learn. He will tell you, and so will anybody who was around that situation in Green Bay. Brett Favre wasn't imparting a ton of wisdom on Aaron Rodgers. They got along, but Brett Favre was just, and I get it. He wasn't basically like, let me groom this guy so he can take my job. But Aaron Rodgers did get to learn behind Brett Favre and just learn, period. I think Shedeur gets a season to learn behind someone like Geno Smith. He's with Pete Carroll. Tom Brady's around. That situation makes a ton of sense to me. Scotty?
It does make a ton of sense.
Oh, boy, here he comes with the cold water.
Yeah, I am. It would be very good for Shedeur. People forget, I'm going to add to your narrative here. Brady and Mahomes, the 2 GOATs, what do they have in common? They also sat behind a veteran for a year. It is a path for success. Yeah. It helps. It only helps.
Yeah.
That would be good for Shedeur.
Yeah.
I thought that's why the Giants would be good for him as well. If the Giants had gone with him instead of Jackson Dart, sit behind Russell Wilson for a season. It makes sense to me. I do not see how the Cleveland Browns with 2 picks, 1 and 4 in this next round, don't take him.
Okay. Here's a little.
And if they take him, it will be the opposite. It will be he has to play. It will be that he gets destroyed, and yet another quarterback will go to the Cleveland Browns for their career to create.
Now, okay.
And I will be devastated for the kid.
I forgot to weigh in on that because I know that's a possibility. But guess what? And this is where the feathers get ruffled here, right? How dare you, dropping to the second round, tell us not to pick you? But that's a possibility as well.
I agree. I told my father that this morning.
Coach Prime being like, "Yo, we're not going to Cleveland." Like,
I mean,
yeah.
I also think that's reasonable, and I also think that's a very real possibility.
Yes.
If there's one franchise,
Yeah.
if I said pick one that you do not want to end up with as a quarterback,
yeah,
that's the one.
I was reading a publication out of Vegas this morning that was talking about that kind of lent to our theory that, hey, like there's not going to be, like if the Browns do say they're going to draft him, it's it's quite possible that Deion would say no.
But you're right. I mean, if it's not the Browns, the Texans got their guy and Tennessee got their guy.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
Raiders would be next up, and then Saints would be up again. But we heard Todd McShay said they won't even take him at 40. So I mean, it really gets weird. I really don't know where he's going to end up. I mean, again, I hate to keep banging the drum, Pete.
Yeah.
If he gets past the Raiders, I don't think it's beyond Jerry Jones to take him. I don't want him to. I told you, I kind of want the Cowboys to go with Scattaboo there, get our starting running back and punish some people. But I do not put it beyond Jerry Jones. The further Shedeur slips, the more likely the Cowboys get.
This goes back to the Mike
Jerry
McCarthy.
Jones is going to see the money sign.